Ojass, the Superhero of Shyamavali by Swapnil Sarov. 1. The Purple Mystery. He sat near a riverbank eating an apple. "Ojass, Ojass Swaroop!" cried a boy. It was his friend Samir, always running, searching for some adventures. "I'm here, Samir, throwing rocks in the water. Do you want to play? I found some perfectly round pinkish stones. They are shining." "Ojass, let's play." The boys spent an entire day throwing the stones into the water, competing, trying to figure out who tosses further. The evening came, bringing first stars and summer freshness. The boys were out to the rocks. The last throw was for Ojass to make. He was searching and searching for the pinkish stones, but found none. The two friends almost left the riverbank when Ojass noticed a big, purple, gleaming stone laying in between two broken shells. It was something stunning and particularly gripping about that piece of rock. Ojass refused to throw it in the river and heavy-heartedly allowed Samir to win. On his way home, Ojass was very confused as he tried to uncover the mystery of the glowing stone. 2. The Calling. The sun rose together with the boy's curiosity for the glowing object near his bed. He felt a unique sensation and wanted to reveal what was so unusual about that shiny stone. Ojass totally forgot what a special surprise waited for him that day. After a while, a strong smell of utmostly delicious food interrupted all the thoughts Ojass had. Delicious biryani, his favorite paneer butter masala, iron-rich palak curry, rajma, paratha, mango lassi, and other foods were waiting for him on the table. Ojass grabbed his clothes and went to the dining room. He was already 4, and that day he received a lot of presents. His parents were happy, but they couldn't understand why the boy was so upset. Ojass looked at his cousins and friends and saw how much fun they did have, always adventures and plenty of stories. The little boy wanted to be like them. To go somewhere to help people meant the world to him. That morning Ojass went outside, and while rubbing the stone, he revealed a strange inscription engraved on it. He didn't understand the letters, so he turned it from one side to another. When the writing touched the sun, a picture of a flying creature who was mercilessly destroying his native town, Shyamavali, appeared in the air. The boy was frightened, but told no one about what was happening. The more time he spent with the rock, the more he understood that it was a call for him. Ojass didn't know yet what to do or how to act, but definitely realized that it was something important, something that appealed just to him. 3. Responsibility. It was a picture of a medieval castle, destroyed to its foundation. Ojass turned the page tiredly. "Ojass, my boy, why don't you help your father with his work in the garden?" asked Rupali kindly. "But ma, I don't want to." "Why not living your life carelessly?" replied the boy. "Because you must care for your family and for those whom you love. It's your responsibility," were his mother's words. Ojass looked around and noticed a lot of furniture, a table, a cupboard, some toys on the floor. It all belonged to him. But how did it all come together and appeared in his house? The boy looked through the colored glass of his window and saw his father who was working the land. The soil was all dust and mud. Few crops managed to grow. Ojass understood that he could not hide under his little bed any more. It was a big challenge for a little kid. Taking a shovel, Ojass went outside. The wild weeds opposed resistance, so the young Ojass had to put up all his strength as to make them fade away. Ojass scooped the ground steadily until the shovel broke, hurting his palm. The little boy was in pain, but courageously stood on his foot, enduring the trouble. "Ojass!" called someone from behind. It was Samir, running towards his friend, all excited. "What is it, Samir?" "Ojass, I found another glowing stone, and I think it has your name written on it." The boys started to examine the rock. The dusk was falling rapidly. They didn't notice. 4. The challenge. Year after year, the drought returned to Shyamavali. Ordinary people and farmers were upset. Until one day, an old man in a purple robe came in the town. He called himself Baba. He was great, tall, and grey-haired. Wrinkles on his face formed an abundance of dooms. Walking slowly, he approached a garden where a boy of the age of 5 was sitting under a jamun tree. "Ojass," spoke the old man. The boy turned. "Ojass, you are a good-hearted boy. You helped your parents when they needed. You are a great friend. And what is more, I can see you can be a true hero to your people." "Me?" laughed the boy. "I am nothing but a son of a landowner," replied the child. "No, Ojass, you are wrong. You have the power of great ancestors in your blood, and I am willing to give you even more power, if you can pass my test." The boy was surprised and silent. He just nodded. "You will have to hold the 2 stones for 3 days and think of the multitude of deeds you can accomplish. If you pass the test on the 3rd day, the stones, like 2 butterflies, will fly out of your hands. But what you will be given instead is the power," uttered Baba. The boy agreed. The 1st day started and the task seemed a lot easier than it was described. By the end of the day, the boy felt a little bit tired, but still able to pass the test. When the 2nd time the sun rose, the boy felt that the stones weighed more and more. The 2nd day ended, and the boy felt like he was holding 2 giant mountains in his hand. During the last day, the stones were so hot that they started to burn his hands. It was merely impossible to breathe nothing said about being able to think about the wonderful deeds. The boy was sweating. He closed his eyes tightly and saw his family, his brothers and sisters, his neighbors, the farmers, and then he understood how much he wanted to help. One after another, the 2 gentle butterflies took off his hands. It looked like everything the old man said came true. 5. Saving Shyamavali. Rising above the clouds, Ojass was floating on an air orb. He was lifting himself higher and higher until the moment he felt that he could touch the sun. Ojass was blissful. He could control the wind, a unique power he was blessed with. There, from above, the boy saw the forest and the fields, which were covered in a dense smoke. The ground was almost burning. Ojass descended and saw his father sitting on the porch. "How can I help?" asked the boy. "We need rain. There is nothing you can do, Ojass," replied Swapnil, his father, sadly. But his father was wrong. Ojass knew he could help. And, rising in the sky again, he travelled in search of rain clouds. The path was difficult, as a multitude of winds blew in his face. Ojass tried to find the right one. Suddenly, a big, black, stormy cloud appeared in the furthest corner of the sky. Ojass was afraid, but he plucked up his courage because it was his duty to bring the storm. He summoned the most powerful gale as to move the cloud, and was pushing and pushing it with all his might. The cloud moved just a little bit. Then he summoned a stronger gale, and the cloud started to glide on the sky right in the direction of Shyamavali. Everything worked, but the boy lost all his strength. He was tired and unable to control the ball of wind he was sitting on. Ojass started to fall down. Awaking like from a dream, he rose up and saw Baba standing behind him. He saw a wet flower, and in between its petals a green glowing stone, which was waiting for him. "Take it, you have a new power," said Baba. The boy looked surprised. Shyamavali had good rains that year, and everyone was happy. 6. Fighting the beast. The school bell rang. Ojass chased Manduba, a boy who was a true annoyance for everyone. It turned to be a long run, but when Ojass reached him, he remembered Baba saying, "Don't you ever use your powers on anyone who is weaker than you." The words were so convincing that Ojass didn't dare to disobey the old man, even if he badly wanted to punish the little brat for all the teasing and troubles he caused. Ojass walked away, and while heading home, he noticed a fearsome creature burning the houses of his people. The only way was to fight, but how? He knew just how to call the storm, to summon the clouds by pushing them off with a tremendously powerful wind. So he rose up in the sky and did all he knew, but he just put out the fire. He didn't stop the creature which roamed the lands. The closer Ojass approached to the creature of doom, the more he felt another power growing inside of him. He ran towards the giant fire-breathing varmint with a sharp stick of metal he found on the ground. Ojass was fast, agile, and courageous. He was handling the metal stick like a sword. He ran straight towards the monster, jumped 2 steps in the air, and then pierced its heart. The creature moved a little bit and then fell on the ground. It was the most courageous deed the people of Shyamavali have ever seen. They were praising the little Ojass and calling him a true hero. And almost everyone in Shyamavali talked about Ojass. People brought to the boy's house gifts and treated him as they would treat a prince. As about the boy, he was happy with such a warm attitude and didn't want to change a thing. He had a lot of friends, and his family enjoyed many gifts from the town dwellers. 7. A new lesson. A few months passed, and almost everyone in Shyamavali talked about Ojass. People brought to the boy's house gifts and treated him as they would treat a prince. As about the boy, he was happy with such a warm attitude and didn't want to change a thing. He had a lot of friends, and his family enjoyed many gifts from the town dwellers. One day at the door knocked Samir, who wanted to spend some time with his friend. Ojass wasn't at home. That month he used to spend much time with his new friends playing cricket and some other games at a new place. For many weeks Samir tried to reach Ojass. Eventually he didn't come just for fun. He had an important message to say, but all the attempts failed. Some time passed, and Ojass's mother talked to her son. "You know, my dear, you should probably go and talk to Samir. He often came by, but you were always away." "I'm sorry, Mum, I didn't know," replied the boy. "Maybe you didn't, but you better go and talk to him." The boy went to look for his friend, but there was nowhere to find him. Finally, he arrived at Samir's house and saw Aunt Nikita crying. "Ojass, my boy, Samir disappeared. I can't find him for several days." Ojass was stunned. He felt somehow guilty for the disappearance of his friend. "I will find him, Aunt Nikita," replied Ojass, and left. The boy was upset. It was a bitter lesson he learned that day. Never to abandon those who are dear to you. 8. The true friendship. A whole summer passed. Ojass didn't know either how to continue his search or whom to ask for help. He sat near the river bank and almost cried. He remembered all the nice moments he had with his friend. In an instant, something tinkled and moved in his pocket. It was the purple stone that Samir once found. Ojass put his hand in the pocket and felt how the ground beneath his feet started to shudder. Looking closer, he observed Baba emerging from a cloud of dust. He was frightened but happy. "Look in the river, Ojass," spoke Baba. "What do you see?" "I don't know. A boy?" "No, Ojass, that's wrong. There is a hero looking back at us." "But I don't know how to save Samir." The boy started weeping. "Of course you know. Look at the stone. It will lead the way." Indeed, the rock trembled just when it was turned west. Ojass understood that it showed him the path. Ojass ran for many miles, first on foot, and then glided on a ball of wind, a long time after he arrived near a gloomy fortress. The rock stopped trembling. The world seemed to cease breathing. Ojass approached and saw Samir sweating and working on a terrible field. Samir was in chains, and all the wardens guarded just him. Ojass knew that it was a trap and that he couldn't be seen. So he floated in an almost invisible ball made of air, close enough to be able to touch Samir's hand. "Samir, it's me," whispered Ojass. "I'm going to cut the chains, and then we run." But Samir was too weak to be able to move. It looked like he toiled the ground for weeks without a single break. Courageously, Ojass took his sword and with a single smash cut the chains, then picked up Samir, and they started to run. The whole horde of hideous creatures from the dark fortress followed them. Ojass ran faster than the wind. He ran until they approached a forest, entered it, and finally he turned to make sure that nobody is following them. The monsters gave up. Ojass gave some water to Samir, and thinking about the upcoming battle, rode ahead, and challenging and dangerous too. How will he take on those whole horde of hideous creatures from the dark fortress? They will surely follow him to his village. 9. The battle continues. "Aunt Nikita, please take care of him," said the boy, while laying his friend on the bed. Ojass left Samir's house. He felt restless. He knew the beasts could approach his town any minute now. He wished he had the knowledge of how to act. He wished Baba was there to counsel him. After some long moments of silence to himself and to the world, he decided that the best idea was to create an ambush. He thought it should have been done during the night. But the hideous monsters were many, and he was just one. And while looking at the sky, a splendid idea came to his mind. He knew he had to use the storm. It was late in the evening. Some clouds moved on the sky. Ojass was approaching the fortress. He had his sword and 4 metal rods with him, one for each tower. Ojass rose in the sky, gathered some stormy clouds, and made them approach the fortress. Ojass flew above the towers and fixed the rods on the roofs. A while after, he showed in front of the fortress gates, and tricking the beasts, made them all run inside. The world was silent. The lightning struck. The boy's heart stopped for a second, and then resounded the thunder. It worked. Ojass turned and saw the whole fortress catching fire. The courageous little man had a strong feeling that everything was over. All the beasts would have got killed, and they would never attack Ojass or his village people ever again. 10. Being a hero. The long story was about Ojass, the hero of Shyamavali, and many good deeds that he did. A couple of months passed since the destruction of the evil fortress. At last, Ojass turned at Samir's house. For that moment, it seemed like the most difficult act in his whole life was to say sorry. He felt guilty indeed about everything he has done. and standing there in the doorway, he saw Samir sitting on his bed. The boy was feeling better. "I'm so sorry, my dear friend," said Ojass. As reply, he got nothing but a smile. Ojass knew that everything got better. Shyamavali became one of the most prosperous towns in the whole country, and it was everything due to his wonderful deeds. However, Ojass understood that there are some questions to be answered. Who were those creatures? What were they looking for? And why hasn't he seen Baba any more? The boy was sitting on the porch, drinking his milk and wondering about the things which were going to happen.